it didn't feel the same. Every back road held a memory, and every memory held your name. It's just 2 hours to get there, babe. I can make it back by an hour or so. Hold you close against my skin. I need a little warmth on a night so cold. Singing songs we used to sing, the one about the lady in the long black veil. Should have seen the warning signs. Lord, I love to hear you wail. High and lonesome, hard and strong, even if it was a little out of tune. Hotter than socks on a Jersey Giant. Lord, I thought you hung the moon.
Me queda 1% y lo usaré solo para decirte lo mucho que lo siento. Que si me ven con otra en una disco solo es perdiendo el tiempo. Baby, ¿pa' qué te miento? Eso de que me vieron feliz no es cierto. Ya nada me hace reír. Solo cuando veo las fotos y los videos que tengo de ti. Salí con otra para olvidarte y tenía el perfume que te gusta a ti. Prendo para irme a dormir, porque duermo mejor si sueño que estás aquí. Si supieras que te escribí, te he mandado los mensajes, siguen todos ahí. Wow, que mucho me ha costado. Quizás te hice un favor cuando me fui de tu lado. Borracho viendo tus fotos, me duele ver que tú seas mejorado. No tienes días grises, ya no te duelen las cicatrices. Y yo pensando si decirte que me queda 1%.
Are we on?
Welcome to the Aspie World Podcast, and also we're in a different setting today, but before we get into that, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I see 70% of you listening and not even subscribing. But we are joined today with actually the closest group of friends I've ever had in my life.
That's upsetting.
It is, because you don't like me.
Never have.
What's up, guys? We are doing a talk. Right, so I'm just going to take the topic of the conversation today, so we can all get started, and then we can introduce ourselves, okay? We're all good? Okay, so it's autism and ADHD, why simple tasks feel impossible, which we can all relate to, right? So, starting from, we'll go here. Jess, you want to introduce yourself to tell everybody who you are?
Sure. I'm Jessica McCabe. I'm the creator and host of the YouTube channel How to ADHD and author of New York Times best-selling book, How to ADHD. I've got some fans here watching. It's so exciting. Yeah, How to ADHD, an insider's guide to working with your brain, not against it. I'm also currently working on my next book called This Wasn't the Plan.
No way.
How to navigate big transitions with an ADHD brain.
Oh, well, thanks for asking me to be in that one, too. I'm joking.
I will. Actually,
really?
no, I forgot.
Oh, right.
I'm going to interview you.
Oh,
Can
okay.
I interview you?
Of course. Not
All
right now, but we can
No,
do
you
that.
sure.
Decided that
Yeah.
right now.
Thanks, Jess. Matt, you want to go for it?
Yeah, my name is Matt Rakelboom. I am the guy online, the very, very hyper, ridiculous, over-explaining person that teaches people the whys and hows of their wonderful brains. I actually have a book coming out in November of this year. I'm really, really excited about it. I am also running a program called the Neurodivergent Neighborhood, which is making speaking events, teaching people how to understand their brains more accessible.
Awesome.
My name is Alex. I'm a Leo. I like long walks on the beach.
Wrong tape.
I have not uploaded a single shred of content in 20 years. I'm VidCon's first ever featured creator who has never created anything. However, I am here to moderate panels. I've lost my voice. If you're out there in this world right now and you found it, please return it. I'm desperately in need
Please
of it.
don't. But yeah,
I'm not a creator. I'm just like your neck pillow on planes.
it's true.
And your accountability system.
It's true. Alex keeps me accountable. So if people watching outside live, because we're actually, so for everybody watching
Oh,
here
are they
on-
listening to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
really are.
Everyone on
That's wild.
YouTube.
Guys,
and
wait for us,
Spotify
please.
right now.
Just hype us up,
We are
please.
live at VidCon Anaheim 2026.
If you're wondering where this voice came from, it's from England.
That's right.
You're welcome.
So yeah, anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Dan. I run the Aspie World YouTube channel. I've been doing autism and ADHD content, but mainly autism content since like 2018 properly. So yeah, and I also host a podcast, and that's what we're doing right here. So let's get into it. Alex, why do you think, or why would you say that ADHD tasks feel like, why did ADHD make normal day tasks feel impossible?
In my experience, I see the tip of Everest before I see base camp number one. So I see the final finished product of the task before I see the, well, I better put my shoes on first kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, today we are going to paint the living room. And like, oh man, that's a long way away from being painted. I wonder what's on TV instead.
But that's the thing. Like when you see a task and you think like, I'm going to do this mammoth thing, because we all get that like burning desire to do like the craziest thing ever. And then we start the task and we get like about an hour into it and we realize it's going to take weeks. And you're like, and then you hit inertia, right? The moment where you're like, I can't do anything. And then you feel like you failed, right? That's a crazy experience, because you go from being like so pumped to like paint your entire house, and then to being like, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to cry about it.
It's even worse when you're holding the paintbrush. Yeah. The music is good. You're in the overalls. The conditions are perfect. All you got to do is just go once, and yet you're just like,
Yeah, exactly. Because you've already burnt. You spent the dopamine. That's why, right? You've already burnt through all the dopamine, getting so stoked about like, I'm gonna paint the whole house, and then you get like all this big vision, and you're like, I need a nap, man.
You're really bougie with it. You're like, man, I got a really big wall. Well, first of all, well done me, but also,
All right, Jess, I know you have a burning desire to hear. You've got the book, like you wrote the book on this, right? So, by the way, we all have ADHD, by the way, guys, in case anybody's wondering. So yeah, hit us, Jess. What's your take on this?
So it's a task initiation problem. Task initiation is really hard. It's inertia, right? If you're not doing the thing, going from not doing the thing to doing the thing can be especially hard for people with ADHD, as well as going from doing the thing to not doing the thing, right? So sometimes we have a hard time doing what we need to be doing because we're having trouble stopping doing something else.
100%.
But then sometimes...
That's the law of motion, right? An object in motion can't suddenly stop or deviate from the path, right?
Right. And so set shifting is hard for ADHD brains. Response inhibition is also a thing. So maybe we get started, but then we're like, ooh, shiny, and we get distracted real quick, right? So that can be hard. So it's starting, sustaining, and stopping attention on a thing, which is really all three parts can be hard for people with ADHD. And it's multifactorial. There's a lot of things involved in this. It's a focus issue. Getting our brains to pay attention to something that is lengthy, repetitive, or boring is incredibly difficult when you have ADHD. Getting our brains to stop paying attention to something that's new and novel and exciting and urgent, is very difficult, right?
Yeah.
And there's motivation. Our brains are motivated differently than neurotypical brains. So, a lot of times what people try to do to motivate us is, impress on us how important this task is, which does
makes it worse.
It makes it worse because now, because now you're having trouble starting and you feel bad about it, and then you're beating yourself up, and all your energy is going into that now instead of actually being able to get started on the thing. So I'm a big fan of understanding what it is that the invisible obstacle is, and then what do you do about it. I kind of like to think of what I do with my channel and my book is a little bit of ADHD tech support. It's kind of like learning to read error codes on a printer. Instead of banging on it and being like, why won't you work? You're like, it's out of paper. Let's get it some paper.
Nice. I love that, man. Matt, what's your take on this? Why do you think tasks are impossible, man?
My take is a little bit more anecdotal, but I love the entire idealization of having a brain that is in a consistent state of stimulation. It's been one of the best ways that I've come to understand the ADHD brain, which if I am not stimulated by it, it's not something that my brain is necessarily motivated to do. I always love...
Can you explain that a little bit deeper? What do you mean by constantly in stimulation? Just so people who are not familiar with this.
Yeah, so it's just it's a massive understanding when it comes to the ADHD brain, and of course not the only thing going on, but your brain is in a consistent state of stimulation where other people actually have to induce the state of stimulation into their brain. Right. Where this becomes different is when you have a brain that is willing to turn off, it's actually willing to pay attention to the things that it doesn't need to be on for. And that's the way that I love to think about it. Yeah. And because of which, that's why I really, really love the idea of being playful when it comes to the ADHD brain. Mm-hmm. You think about the stimulation and the factor of, let's say, the squirrel. The squirrel that everybody makes fun of us for. Oh no, squirrel, I'm getting distracted now.
Yeah.
And the reality behind this, let's paint the picture. Let's go back to high school for a second. Yeah. You're sitting in class, it's your third hour in a row. They put a piece of paper out in front of you that's really confusing and really difficult, and then they say, pay attention to this thing. You look down at that piece of paper, it's doing nothing for you. It's kind of hard. It's something you don't necessarily want to do. And then you look outside and there's this cute little squirrel just hanging out outside of there. It's got some little nuts in its mouth. It's moving around at abnormal speeds, and lo and behold, that's the thing that we tend to focus on. That's because our brain is tending to look for what is the stimulation. We're stimulation-seeking creatures.
Yeah.
So something that I'm a massive fan of is actually understanding that if you're not willing to play, you're not willing to do the thing.
Yeah.
I've learned this when it comes to my food, how I have to incorporate certain kinds of music. When I work, I have to wear certain pairs of shoes. When I go outside, I can't just go outside and walk around a block. I got to walk around a block with either a toy in my hand, with a idea in mind. And that idea might be that I wonder if I could walk around this place and have superpowers. What would I do instead of just simply walking here? Would I jump incredibly high? Would I skate incredibly far? Would I move incredibly fast? And just the idea of stimulating my brain, even by sitting there, even just by my own thoughts, it actually has helped me get over that executive functioning barrier.
You know, I heard, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interject you, but like I heard this really cool thing. I once attended like a mindfulness, I tried everything, right? Like we all tried this nonsense. We're like, hey, so I'm going to try this. This is going to help. And you know, and Jess said this today in our mentorship group thing. She said like, look, not everybody can meditate or like you can do mindfulness, right? And so for ADHD peeps, it's even worse. Anyway, I tried it anyway, and I had this really interesting kind of visual conception of this. Like they said, oh, you know, to have mindfulness is to rest your mind and think about it like a puppy. And you've got this puppy, and you're like, sit down, puppy. And then the puppy runs away, and you're like, no, bring it back to the center. And it keeps running away. And I feel like that's how our mind is, right? Our focus is the puppy sitting still in front of us, like, oh. And then but instantly it's going to run off because the puppy just wants to run and play and stuff. And that's constantly, But the struggle is that trying to find the puppy, run after it, and bring it back, right? And it was so cool. I was like, man, I didn't learn anything from the workshop about mindfulness other than the fact that, like, hey, I know how to explain ADHD brains to people, right?
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, I just wanted to say the little known
Instagram moment.
The very first intro of my show before I decided to do, like Hello Brains and my normal intro. There was a do theme song, ADHD, and it was me like holding my brain at. Have you actually?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I forgot that we actually made this intro. It didn't get used, but it was like my brain on a leash, like it was a puppy, and like it's like pulling me along with it, and that is what it feels like a lot of the time. Yeah. And to your point about play, play is one way to stimulate your brain, and I'm just gonna read to you from my book shamelessly.
No, not at all.
Like,
Yes, this book's available. Yeah, Amazon,
books are sold in many different languages. Yeah.
Am I in this one?
Probably. I can check. But yeah, ADHD brains aren't motivated by what's important. We kind of talked about that. But like what does motivate an ADHD brain? Things that are urgent, things that are new or novel, things that are the right level of challenging, things that are of personal interest. In other words, stimulating, right? Like, so play is one way, and you're like, if you're not going to play, you're not going to do it. I'm like, that's not true. Like, I have done so many things because it was due the next day. Without playing, it's just urgent, or because it's new and exciting. Like I got a bunch of Korean skincare. I'm evangelizing the Korean skincare products. I tried them for the first time yesterday because we got them as swag, and I went back to the hotel and they were like, yeah, just mention it on Instagram. They probably meant like take a picture and tag us. I was like, I've never tried Korean skincare, but yeah, I was like, I've never tried Korean skincare before. Like, maybe this might be something that might be fun. So I ended up 3 hours later, I filmed an entire reel of me trying Korean skincare for the first time, and like now I'm a beauty influencer. So like,
I had the same experience, but when it got to the bosom cream, I was like, hey, wait, what? I couldn't do the video.
I've run out of biscuits.
What? Yeah, like this isn't dip.
I want to touch real quick on the problem we're talking about here, and I have my way is sort of meditation.
No,
I found my way to dwarf the wall of awful that evolves around us.
Wall of awful. What's the wall of awful?
So
hang on, that's also in my book.
So
I love this. We have like
we now go to dictionary corner. So my personal way of overcoming the task initiation issue that we all face is I dwarf the problem to a minuscule scale. And the way I do that is so I subscribe to the spiritual belief of optimistic nihilism. Nothing matters. So it doesn't matter that nothing matters. And usually I'm finding myself in that state whilst listening to Brian Eno's An Ending, which is a phenomenal piece of ambient music. I chuck those headphones on, play that music, and I just realized that we are just specks of bacteria on a rock hurtling through space, and all of this goes away at some point.
We were having a conversation. You said make the problem. I was freaking out about something. You said just make it small and be bigger than it, right? That's
yeah, so that's what I do. Like optimistic nihilism. It doesn't matter, so it doesn't matter that nothing matters. Listen to Brian Eno. I eat the cake.
I thought you were going to say Brian Adams. I was like, what?
I'm not nihilistic, but I do have something that I like to say to my very anxious friends, and sometimes that's me. If the whole world is on fire, get your face out of the candle. Like step back a
Oh,
little
man,
bit, right?
that's so good.
It's perspective. But yeah, the wall of awful is very, very relevant to what we're talking about with having trouble getting started on tasks. This is a concept that was developed by Brendan Mahan, who's a brilliant ADHD
So
coach.
brilliant.
By the way, he's coming out with the book, The Wall of Awful.
No way.
Very shortly, yeah, I think in August. I wrote the foreword for that book. I was
Oh,
very
look at
honored
that. What a
to-
drop.
I know, right?
You only
But-
wrote 4 words in a
but-
book?
No, like the thing saying like, hey, this is a great book, you should read it. But basically, yeah, I put this, when we do a simple task, like making a phone call, we're not just dealing with that task. That task might be hard enough for our brains, but we're also dealing with all of our past failures around that task, right? We're dealing with an emotional barrier that has been built from those past failures. And so even if our executive function is developed enough that we could make a phone call, maybe we struggle to make a phone call because of what that phone call represents or the past failures that we've had with making that phone call to that doctor or that dentist.
Overthinking,
Right.
yeah.
Brendan Mahan calls this this barrier, this emotional barrier, a wall of awful. The more we've struggled with a task in the past, the more failure, disappointment, rejection, and worry we've experienced as a result, and the more of
almost
these
like
negative
trauma, though,
experiences
right?
it's a trauma model. Yeah. The more of these negative experiences we've endured, the higher that wall. And then if you're also kicking yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like it
You're already
makes it
feeling bad
even-
about it, yeah.
Right. You're already feeling bad about it. You've already got all these past failures. And then somebody tells you like, what's wrong with you? Like, why haven't you done this yet? It's really
on with it.
important.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're adding bricks to
That's
your
the pressure,
wall,
yeah.
right? They're actually making it harder for you to get started.
That's crazy.
Hold on, I have something that I wanted to say for like the last 10 minutes.
Oh,
and I'm
sorry.
holding my
Yeah,
breath,
yeah,
so
yeah,
if it's
yeah,
okay
yeah,
with
yeah.
you guys. Jess talked about the idea of, yes, playfulness is not the only way to actually stimulate your brain. It's also whenever I have a deadline that it becomes due. And I want to make sure to everybody that's possibly listening, we got to understand this about the stimulation brain. Is stimulation comes from happiness. It comes from sadness. It comes from anger. It comes from laughter. Stimulation is how you favor it. But what becomes interesting towards the thoughts of stimulation is actually what Dan was bringing up about dog training. So I used to date a professional dog trainer.
All right.
And I learned so much about this. I thought it was so interesting exclusively when it comes to puppies.
Yeah.
Because puppies, yeah, you can grab the puppy, you can try and bring it back there, you can try and get it to listen, but the number one way to train a puppy, it's actually tied for the 2 ways that you can train a puppy. The first one is going, yay! And making sure to make a lot of loud noises, a lot of
Like a
positivity, a lot of excitement. You know what that puppy's gonna do? Because normally it gets a big praise and then it gets a treat and all this kind of stuff.
Pavlov's
Guess what happens
idea,
the next time that you tell it to sit? It's gonna go, give me the treat, give me the praise, give it to me.
Yeah,
That's an amazing thing. The other way that's actually tied for the way of training a puppy is going, get back here, sit. And the difference between the 2 brains that actually get trained in puppies is actually something that gets heavily emphasized amongst police dogs. When you use anger, when you use physical ways of putting that dog down, using choke collars, all that kind of stuff, what happens is the dog becomes resentful. It becomes noticing as it's doing a job and it needs to do it or else. Where when you actually use positive reinforcement behind the way that you're stimulating a brain, notably, just so that you know, it actually
wants
takes
to do the thing, right?
but it takes an average of 8 months longer.
Oh my goodness.
And that's the point that I just wanted to bring up towards this that I think is really interesting. When you train a dog with happiness, with positivity, with stimulating its brain, and this doesn't have to be a pure thought, but this is something that heavily favors in a dog's brain, in a person's brain, and so many other things. It's the way that we need to be able to think about it, that if you are to train it with happiness, all of a sudden, what happens in every police dog that you've ever seen, if you've ever seen one, they're wagging their tail. They're
I've met a few
exciting.
of
They're
them.
playing a game. It doesn't matter
Man,
what that
blowing
dog is
my mind
doing.
right now.
Which one did you say takes 8 months longer?
The
Positive.
positive one. Which is why everything takes longer, right?
Positive trains of thought.
Where did this research come from? I've never heard this. I've trained 4 puppies. I've
Okay,
never heard
very
this.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I can't tell you right off the top of my
Okay.
head, but this is the person that I dated. They trained all of the police dogs for the Ontario Police Force, and it was something that
Canada.
I watched this in detail, and I watched them talk about this for years, and I'm sure that the research is there.
Yeah.
But it became a very, very notable thing that we had to be sure that we were not stimulating our dogs in the wrong way, that we are not using negative reinforcement on them too much, because they will do the job, but they will realize that it's a job. Where if they notice that it's a playful, happy thing, they will start to do it very excitedly. If you ever notice that any of those dog videos is the final point, you'll notice the tail wagging. You'll notice them going, oh my
it is.
God,
I
let me
never
go
thought
out there
about
and
it until
play
you
with
said
that drug addict running away.
Yeah,
They're-
I want to play with the drug addict?
Yeah.
What the heck?
They don't
But I
notice
know what you
that.
mean.
They know they're playing the game.
But they're doing the job because they know they're going to get rewarded. Right?
Yeah.
You know what, Matt? Because when you were saying that, you reminded me of something, and I think this is really interesting. Like I was trying to explain. I was doing like coaching one day, and I was trying to explain like how to control emotions, right? And like I was trying to explain it, and obviously, of course, all my clients like ADHD or ADHD, And I was like, look, it's, emotion, if you break it down, energy in motion, right? And so it's like you have the energy inside you, you just have to put it into motion. And it's kind of like, if we stop at the energy part and think about, how do I want to react to this? Then it'll give you the motion. Am I going to cry? Am I going to melt down? Am I going to like freak out? And that was really interesting because like by breaking it down to those two parts, like you were able to then go forward and kind of like predict the outcome of, okay, I'm not going to freak out this time. Well, I'm going to freak out less this time, right? But the difficulty we found is that when you do that, it takes longer, right? Than it would do if you were just like taking, I don't know, medication, or if you were having some kind of like a big meltdown and then you recover from it, right? But the reward of having over the longer period of time is that it would kind of not fix it, but it would help it longer term, right? Because like having a meltdown, recovering from it, you'll have another meltdown, right? Or if you have a burnout, you'll recover from it and have another burnout.
Yeah.
But if you can stop yourself and start training that kind of energy, emotion before, just a little bit every time, it will get less and less and less and less.
Absolutely.
It will like normalize the wave a bit, right?
You know, there's even a thought process of how I'm feeling right now, how Alex is feeling right now, and I can only imagine the two of you as well. I'm actually pretty willing to be anxious right now. I'm willing to be a little bit low energy. I'm willing to be a little bit overwhelmed right now, and that's because I'm having a great time hanging out with some friends, and we're doing something really optimistic, and there's a bunch of cool people outside staring at us like fish in an aquarium, and I didn't think about that part too much, and now I'm going to overthink about it. But the first part was really relevant. I'm having a great time, and because of which, the fact that I'm tired, the fact that I'm a little bit hungry, I could drink some water. It's directly in front of me, but I don't know how to move this microphone out of the way.
I had the exact same thought.
So task initiation, right? You're having trouble, you're drinking your water. This is like actually a good example of task initiation and how much we can struggle with seemingly simple things. He's like, I need water. It is right there. But this is something that we don't talk about enough, I think, when it comes to task initiation difficulties with ADHD, is just not knowing what to do. And you just said it so beautifully. I know the water's right there, but I don't know how to move the mic, right? Like it's a knowledge gap. And so that's something that that I think is super important, is recognizing that it's not always a motivation problem, right? Sometimes it's a skill gap. Sometimes it's a knowledge gap. Sometimes it's I'm tired. Sometimes, you could be really motivated. You don't have the capacity, right? I'm really motivated to do a lot of things in my life right now that I just don't have the capacity to do. And that's why it's not happening. So really getting curious with yourself and your own brain. If you're struggling with starting something, like, what is getting in my way? What is getting in my way?
When you get the guilt, though, don't you? If you don't actually start it, you get all that guilt. You're like, I haven't done this. I need to drink water. Like, I get it all. I don't know if you guys relate, but like, I'm like, and I feel bad. I'm like, I should have done that. It's an easy, simple task. Like, figure it out, man. And then I don't do it. And because I'm doing something else. And then I'm like, I didn't start the task. And then I get so guilty. And then it spirals me into like I'm useless. Like, and I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like.
But what was the answer? What was the answer behind that spiral? Was it something simple? Because, for me, let's use this microphone getting in my way as a thing. The reason why I don't want to move the microphone is right before we got started. What was the last thing that the person helping us run this said? They said, don't move the microphone.
Put your shirt back on.
Don't pay me, please, sir.
If I was to think about this very logically, and I was willing to recognize that I have these executive functioning issues and that I got to slow down, I could have very much asked my friend Jess here to grab me a bottle of water. I could have very much been careful and moved out of the way, or I could have actually asked the lady, I don't know what to call her, but our studio manager.
Yes, the manager.
But this is one of the first things. If you notice that you're not doing something that you want to get started on, just telling somebody I'm not doing the thing I want to get started on is a really great place to start, because sometimes it's the rubber ducky thing, like the engineers do, where they just talk about the problem to a rubber ducky and they're like, oh, now I know how to solve it, right? But then if not, he's saying like my microphone's in the way of my water, and I'm like, oh, your microphone is not in the way of me grabbing your water. Now I can grab it for you. And a lot of times it's like that when it comes to task initiation.
100%.
This emotional wall is there for me. But if I tell my friend I'm having trouble making this call, they're like, I don't have any emotional barriers against calling your doctor, right? Like, I'll call your doctor. And so there's like a really great strategy of like just task swapping. In the ADHD community, like, I will clean your kitchen, you clean mine, right?
I've seen this. Somebody said this, like the whole, what do they call it? No, not shadow working. What's it called? We work alongside.
Oh, body doubling. Yeah, body doubling is a great one. Yeah.
So good.
You got to have a really good friend to be like, I'll clean your kitchen, you'll clean mine, right? But
I've seen it in real
hey,
life.
can you come over and just like hang out while I clean my kitchen? Or can I give you a call? Or my aunt was in the very early days, like, she was one of the first women diagnosed with ADHD as an adult woman.
That's fire.
Ever, right? Like, she was diagnosed.
Is she in your book?
She was diagnosed as an adult woman in 1992, which is, yeah. And so she was part of like the OG like female support group for people with ADHD, and they called themselves the Claddies, the cleaning ladies with ADD. And they would just get on phone calls.
I've never heard that before in my life.
Claddies,
Sorry.
Just call me
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Come here, Claddy. Come here, Claddy.
They weren't cleaning other people's houses. They were cleaning their own. So like they would get on these group calls and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, I'm cleaning my sink. I'm cleaning. You know." And this is back when like the expectation was still that like as the woman you're supposed to keep a clean house. And thankfully like we're kind of dismantling that a little bit now. But back then it was like, oh yeah, you can work, but you also have to do all of the things that you used to have to do as a woman. You know, when you didn't have a job, and it was just so hard on these women with ADD.
That just blew my mind about something actually. Like, and I think about this all the time, and you just reminded me, and it goes with what Matt was saying. Like, you know, when we don't do the thing we need, and maybe the solution is to ask for help, right? But we're almost programmed to not ask for help. However, the most interesting part about this, and this like blows my mind, is that like human beings or Homo sapien, our only tool for survival we're born with is the ability to ask for help. That's why we cry when we're born, right? Like, that's why like a horse can like run when it's born or whatever, because that's its survival technique. But our survival technique is to ask for help, and we go on the contrary to that because we have psychological like identification say like, I'm gonna look like a jerk, right? Like, and it's nuts. We go against our like instinct, right?
I have an antidote to this, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, you may be overselling it.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry, everybody. This is too exciting. I don't know
Prepare
why.
to be let
No,
down.
the antidote is, okay, so first of all, the mindfulness around the word should. As soon as you say, I should be able to do something, recognize that that is internalized ableism. Just immediately, that's what it is. Like, identify that error code. My brain is telling me I should be able to do this thing
Right.
because society tells me that a typical person should be able to do this. I'm not typical, right? I'm not neurotypical. Therefore, that argument is invalid,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
The
I
argument
could
that
rather than I should, right? I could do this.
Yeah, that's one way to think about it. What I end up thinking about it is, historically, have you ever been able to consistently? And consistently is the important part, right? Like, I should be able to keep my house clean by myself. Historically, have I ever been able to? Yes. Consistently? No. Like, never in my life. Therefore, no, I shouldn't be able to do it.
100%.
That's
so
not how my
cool.
brain
Yeah.
works.
Ooh, it does help. That you undersold how much you could have oversold. That was
Yeah,
wonderful.
no, it is good, but like the only thing I think about when you're saying that the whole time is that like I have OCD as well, right? And I don't know if you know you have OCD, right? And it's
Mild
kind of-
OCD, yeah.
Yeah, mild.
It's like probably one of the most debilitating things I have condition wise, and so it kind of starts to eat away. It's like I should be doing this, I could be doing this. I know I don't have to because I like what you just said, but then I'm like, it starts creeping up like this thing, like yeah, but you have to do it. You know, and then I'm like, man, I have to do it now. Otherwise, something bad's gonna happen. So it's kind of like, I guess it does work if you don't have OCD, kind of like kicking you down the whole time. Honestly, it's the anybody have OCD like out there will understand that it's horrible. And when you get rid of it, when you like try to compress one part of it, the new thing you do starts to become the new OCD, right? Say if you're like, I wash my hands 7 times and you bring the day, and then you're like, no, I'm never gonna do it again. I'm just gonna do this once, towel out. Once towel out, that's a new thing. And it just eats at you and it says you have to do this now. It's crazy. And so, yeah, so my task initiation doesn't work because of 2 reasons. One is that maybe I'm still stuck on the last task because the OCD is like, you have to get this right. Go back to the start. I was late for work and all sorts. Or I can't start the new one because the OCD is like, don't do this. I'm like,
So I'm just going to read you guys my entire book. So behavior.
Chapter 1.
Behaviors precede motivation. So, okay, so what's happening in that case, and I'm not an expert on OCD, so take this with a grain of salt, but I do have mild OCD.
I appreciate your input.
Whether it's because I'm stuck on this previous behavior because of hyperfocus, hyperfixation, OCD, or I'm depressed and I'm having trouble like actually having the motivation to do this thing because like I don't, like anhedonia, nothing sounds good. I don't want to do anything, right? There's anhedonia, quizzical. Look, anhedonia is basically like the loss or the absence of things that, of pleasure in things you used to find pleasurable. And so this is actually really problematic for someone with ADHD because someone with ADHD is going to be able to be motivated to do things that are interesting to their brain. And then anhedonia says nothing is interesting. So where do we get the motivation, right? And so one of the things that that I learned while writing this book is that behavior sometimes precedes motivation. Often we're waiting to get the motivation to do a thing before we do it. Like we're waiting for that sense of urgency to kick in before we do it. We're waiting until we're really thirsty to pick up that bottle of water, right? But that's one way to do it. But a lot of times we can't rely on that as people with ADHD. We can't rely on having the motivation before we do the thing. And thankfully, we don't have to, because behavior can also precede motivation.
Yeah.
When I was an actor, I used to wait until I had enough motivation to spend 2 hours memorizing my lines.
Oh, wow.
And that never happened until the morning of. And it turns out the morning of is too late for you to actually encode that information very effectively. So I would waste 2 hours, essentially is what it was. I would waste 2 hours trying to memorize my lines and then go to the audition. And as soon as the pressure kicked in and my anxiety kicked up, like, immediately forgot everything that I had just done, right? And so what I wish I had known then that I understand now is we don't need motivation to take action. In fact, it often happens in reverse. Action can generate motivation. So some examples: picking up our phone often motivates us to check our email, text messages, or social media, right? Sitting on the couch motivates us to pick up the remote. Planning a road trip motivates us to make music playlists. Yeah. Handing you the bottle of water is what motivated you to take a sip, right? Like, you didn't need the motivation to, like, drink water.
Just need the bridge.
Yeah, you just need that bridge. So it's what psychologists call behavioral activation. You don't have to feel like going for a bike ride to go for a bike ride. You just put on your gear. You're not going for a bike ride. You're just putting your helmet on. You just go to the garage. You just look at your bike, right? You take one step at a time, and then pretty soon you're on your bike, and you might be like, I don't feel like riding. I don't have the energy to go bike riding. And then eventually you're like, oh, wait, I am literally riding.
Dude, I teach something similar. Like when I'm doing like coaching, some people say like, I'm fearful of this, or I'm worried about that, and I'm like anxious or whatever. And I say, look, action can't be in the same place as fear, right? So if you just take action when you're fearful or worried, or like you said, when I'm worried about something, I'm like, I start getting like fearful thoughts or bad thoughts. I'm like, I'll just take action. I'll get my phone. I'll text my friends. I'll phone somebody else, not Alex. And then like, and it's true, because when you start taking action, you start forgetting about the thing that you can't do or don't want to do, and then you start moving in a direction. You'll eventually do something, and you'll take action, and you're in motion, right?
And there's research to back that up.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, essentially when you engage the task positive network of your brain when you're performing a task, it dampens the default mode network, which is the part of your brain that's like wandering off and being creative. And anxiety is very creative, right? Like, what if this happens? What if this happens? This is going to be terrible. Like catastrophic fantasies, right? So like Dr. Ned Hallowell talks about it. He calls it the demon of ADHD, like the default mode network, the part of your brain that like tortures you with all the ways in which you're terrible and all the terrible things that are happen. He's like, when that happens, when that kicks up, go cook an egg. Like, go. Wow. It doesn't even have to be related to the thing. You just go do the thing.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you just take
and that
action.
Turns down the volume on that. Yeah.
We're a halfway through point. Alex, give us a joke and a product you think everybody should buy. Oh, and a name of a famous actor.
Barry Manilow.
Is he an actor?
I mean, so he's not necessarily an actor. He's more of a puppet now. If you go to Las Vegas to see him on his retirement tour, if you sit close enough, you can actually see the marionette puppet with his strings just like moving Barry Manilow.
That's outrageous.
That's a great show.
What's a good product for everybody to
A good product for everybody to check out, I would probably say something along the lines of Phil, Alex. You can think of the word that you want to use. I don't know, really. Like a battery bank. In this exact instance, a battery bank.
I'm using one right now.
I have been at VidCon. I have been at VidCon like all week, and my battery has never died once. And I have no particular brand, just a strap a battery on, because we've been shooting content
constantly,
calling home just to make sure there's still a heat wave happening for me to come home to.
Yeah, that's true.
And all because of my battery
Thanks,
bank.
Alex. And a joke. Give us a joke.
You, like as a human being.
That is so mean. This is why I would never call him when I need a friend.
Just everything about you. The fact you're wearing a Taylor Swift T-shirt, ripped jeans, you're 40 years old.
But it's like a gothic-y metal band shirt.
Yeah.
Is this Taylor Swift's shirt? Or okay.
I got this from like some crazy site. It was like, yeah, I'll make Taylor Swift shirts, but make it look like a metal band. I was like, yeah. I've got another one. It's like got cut off sleeves. It's got a cat with like bleeding eyes of like black. I just got an upside down cross. It's like Taylor Swift. It's so dope. My favorite one, though, when I was telling Matt this, is the Celine Dion leather jacket cut off, and it's like the same at the back. It's so good. Like, anyway, I could talk about it for hours. Alex, that was ace. The joke sucked. I got one. What's brown and sticky?
I don't feel like we should answer that.
A stick.
A stick. Yes, you got it, man. Okay, so back at the task at hand. So in order to like, what would be like, and this is everyone can join in with this one. Okay, what would be your advice like? Someone's got ADHD and they're finding issues getting tasks started, they're hitting inertia. What would like your best advice be like, hey, this is what I do and I hit it every time? Matt, let's go.
I think for me, it just kind of goes back to what I've been saying this whole time. If you incorporate play into your life, it can do unbelievable things for you. While understanding that it's not going to solve everything, it might solve 40 to 60% of the issues that we have going on by understanding how to motivate yourself to be excited towards something, to look forward to it, to understand
Gamifying though, right?
Absolutely. For myself, as just like a random example, when I do the dishes, I'm so excited to do the dishes. And I'm probably one of the few ADHD people on the planet that are excited to do the dishes. The way that I did this is I created a playlist that I exclusively only listen to when I do the dishes, and it's all high school throwbacks. I listen to Usher, Little John.
High School Musical for a second.
I listen to Sum 41, 3 Days Grace. I sit there and I scrub a little plate, and I sit there and reminisce about the time where I smoked a cigarette at 3 a.m. and thought about my first girlfriend ever that dumped me, and I was pushing my fringe out of my eyes and going, why?
Oh, yeah.
And
Wait,
then all
any
of
of
a
these
sudden,
bands not Canadian, though?
all the dishes that are not. No, why would I talk about things that are un-Canadian? We make great music.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, it's brilliant, because I just realized I did this. I despise lifting weights. But I lost so much weight and body mass, I had to build back. So I got a trainer. He's like, go to gym, lift weights. I was like, oh man, I despise it. But I listen to books, and I get excited to lift weights because I know I get time to listen to a book, right?
Yeah. I believe that stimulation under play, or even just happiness, laughter, excitement, it can take people out of, we essentially are breaking the chain. And I would actually love to, I would love to hear other people's opinions on it, if you guys have any, about breaking the chain when it comes to the ADHD brain. But one of my favorite examples is actually the panel that we were just on about an hour ago. I always do this thing on panels, and nobody knows about it unless I need to do it, but it's one of my favorite things to do, which is the person that I am near, I always try and support them any way I can. I actually noticed that one of my panelists that I had near me, they were starting to lose the consistent smile on their face. They were starting to pay attention to other things a little bit too much. So I gave them a little nudge, and I went, do you like the puppies that are on my socks right now? And I always wear fun socks, and I always actually do it as a support towards my panelists. So I always have just something cute that makes somebody smile.
So sweet.
I'm going to take a picture of this. So if anyone's following me on Instagram, you'll be able to zoom in, and I'm going to zoom in, and you'll be able to see Matt's socks. Okay. So
I don't know if you have the best angle.
I know I can see it. I can see it. No, I can see it.
Alex can see it.
There you go. Look.
Oh,
Matt.
there you go.
Okay, ready? Okay. I'm going to post this to Instagram right now. So if you
I
go to
guess I could use my phone.
the
I have
Aspie
got a full
World
battery
on
pack.
Instagram. So THEASPIEWRLD. And I'm going to put, I got it. I'm going to put this up there now and be like, Matt sucks. Help the support. Matt supports us all. But Matt, that's great.
Yeah, I always find that when it comes to happiness and excitement and everything, I find that a lot of us tend to, when we're focusing on the negative, or even when we're focusing on the I don't have this currently, we tend to forget about enjoyment. And when you forget about the enjoyment, I find that it's the disconnect of actually just when you enjoy something, you want to do it that much more. For me to get down to this podcast on time, the escalator broke right as I was going down there. And instead of going, oh no, why me? I'm sitting there like, my friends are waiting, I better use the stairs. And I just instantly...
Who are your friends?
Escalators are stairs.
No, but
No, they're not. No,
They absolutely are.
If
they break the stairs.
A broken down escalator is just a
They're
flight of stairs.
automated stairs, yes, but they actually wouldn't let us down. Which is
Yeah, because
silly.
it's health and safety, man.
Yeah, so instantly, instead of going, oh no, why me? Why would they do this? Why are they not efficient during a big convention? That's just silly. I just literally went,
But
my
that's not going to
friends
solve
are
the problem. Yeah, exactly. But solving the problem was the motivation to go and find us.
Yeah. Sometimes it wasn't about all the lights in our face. It wasn't about all of the taking in every single person staring at us. It was just, hey, look at my puppy dog socks. And then all of a sudden they were just back in. And I love doing that as an ADHD support for those that are on the panels that I work with.
I love it. Jazz, what's your...
I think I've got a ton of strategies here, but I think my favorite is the barrier log. At one point, especially as a creator, right? If anybody's a creator here, at one point I went, it's so hard for me to make a piece of content, and I went, you know what? For a week, I'm just gonna write down every barrier that I run into.
Nice.
And so I created a barrier log, it's like an issues log, a barrier log. And so every time I ran into friction, every time I struggled to do a thing, I was like, the battery died. Oh man, I ran out of time and I have to go to my day job. Every time I ran into a barrier, I wrote it down. And I importantly didn't try to solve it yet, because I could have spent a bunch of time and energy trying to solve each one individually. But when I went and looked at a week's worth of this barrier log, I was like, 95% of these are on shoot day and could be solved by one change, which is let me have somebody else shoot me, because then I don't have to worry about the battery. I don't have to worry about the mic. I don't have to worry about the power dying. I don't have to worry about all these other things. And so I ended up hiring my boyfriend at the time for $25 an hour. I'm like, can I pay you $50 to just for 2 hours? shoot me, turn on the camera, like be in charge of the mic or whatever. And he did. And so for $50, I solved 90% of the issues that I was running into.
But the other thing
But
I
it was
noticed-
because I had tracked it and I saw what could create
Yeah,
the
but-
greatest impact.
You analyze the data, right? But like the interesting thing that you also did was you take the residual tension in your head and put it into paper, right? So you're not thinking about it playing on your mind, making you feel guilty, making you like, man, I did that. It's because when you write it down, it kind of just transposes it onto paper, and then you can kind of forget about it because I can always go back to it and feel how bad I was. But you didn't. You like pivoted on it. But it
Yeah,
did too.
and not just that, but it makes it so we can get a better sense of what reality is. Because with ADHD, we do something called emotional reasoning. I feel this way, therefore it must be true, right? I'm like, oh,
Emotional reasoning.
emotional reasoning. Yeah, I can tell I'm the nerdy one on the panel. But no, it's like, I don't know, like it, and I talk about this in the chapter about how to people, we rely on the most recently supplied social information. So like Matt and I have been having an amazing time all weekend, but like I was like, hey, what about the puppies? And like I could tell that there was a little bit of like, oh no, maybe she hates me now, right? Like just all of the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
All of the rest of the information about like how great we've gotten along out the window. Now I hate him. But like that's what our brains do, right? Like I don't mean to assume, but that's how brains.
It's like the
how our
RSD
brains
But
work.
just for the record of pausing this for just a quick second, do you hate me?
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay. We
That's the RSD though, right?
Lovely.
You have that rejection kind of like
Yeah.
instinct of thinking
Right.
everyone
You know,
hates me.
But the emotional reasoning makes it so that, like, in my head, I'm like, oh man, the hardest part of my job and where I run into the most barriers is with the writing and the scripting and stuff like that. And so, like, but I was wrong when I actually looked
you
at
looked
it
at
on
it, it's
paper.
something
The
else.
data said something else, right? And so, yeah.
So self-reflection, it's like that's the key, yeah. Like you track your issues.
Can I just slide something in here that's a totally random point but very relevant?
That's the name.
I've done something very, very amazing for my ADHD brain, which I just caught it now. I was not listening.
Matt
Wow,
was
that's
on
to pay for
dial-up.
that, man.
I do
Wait, I
something-
missed it. What
I,
happened?
I
Okay.
can't explain.
We'll watch the replay.
I do
Okay.
something really amazing with my partner, actually. And it was
It's not getting
actually
any better, man. All right, I'm sorry. Oh man.
I was a sheltered child.
yes. Anyways,
All right, Matt, let's go.
what I just did with Jess is actually a version of what I actually have developed as something really helpful in my relationship, and it's just something I want to share for anybody curious about listening. I have a rule with my partner that her and I mutually agreed upon, and that's that no matter how much I screwed up, no matter how much she screwed up, if you ask, "Do you love me?" you answer honestly. So
Same. I have
every
the
single
same
time
thing.
we could
Oh,
be
I didn't realize I needed to answer honestly. I'm kidding.
What? I almost died then, Jess. Don't do that. Yeah, I was like,
I'm sorry.
oh no.
Sorry.
But anytime that even if we're in a fight for a couple of days, even if we're yelling at each other, I can stop mid-sentence and I go, do you love me? And she goes, yes, Jesus.
Yeah, that.
And then
is
she'll
the
go
one-
back into yelling.
It's
But
that reassurance that like it's not the end of the world, but there's still stuff to solve.
as soon as I hear that, I just understand that this fight is now worth it. I understand that those negative thoughts that might have sent me down this unbelievable spiral, they are worth pursuing because she still loves me. And it does something incredible for my brain.
Aw.
I just want to apologize to our producer right now because they definitely said don't shout into the microphone. And Matt, just like there's someone out there right now that's got tinnitus. Thanks to you because you just let them rip.
You've got insurance for this, right? It's not my studio.
Sorry for the yelling.
But yeah, Matt, I do the same thing. Yeah, it's
This
fantastic.
is totally off topic, but it's so rare that I can come to you with like a strategy that you might not have heard of for autism. My partner and I figured this out. He will automatically assume if I'm upset about something, it's a 10,
Oh.
right? Like it's the worst thing in the world. Like I hate him, I'm gonna
Everything's
leave,
ending.
right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So because he can't read me, he can't read the social cues. He can't tell like how actually
How bad it
upset I
is or
am.
what it is, yeah.
And also like I'm socialized to like pretend everything's fine even when I'm really pissed. So that also doesn't help because he's like, oh, everything's, like he's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, it's
Takes it
fine,
at face
but
value,
I don't
right?
mean it's fine, right? But that's how I've been socialized to talk. So what we've learned is if I tell him what a big deal it is on a scale of 1 to 10. Because sometimes I might be like really pissed about something stupid and small, and then I'll be like, oh, this is a 2. And he's like, oh, thank God you're not going to leave, right? But then other times I might be looking relatively calm, but I'm like,
it's a
this is an
10, right?
8.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this actually really needs to be
have this
dealt
all the
with.
time, yeah. And then but it goes on long because I'm like, I didn't know it was that serious. And like, well, how could you not tell them because I have autism?
Yeah.
But but obviously it's not their fault because like my partner, they're going through that emotional issue right now as well, so it's not their fault that but like you're saying, I think it's more like you need more like signposting or something. What would you suggest? Because I do another thing where if I don't know she's like, if she's busy and can't text me back, I feel like I said she hates me now, right? Not like I'm demanding a text back, but I'm just like, she's been silent for like 7 hours. But so I say, if she's busy, just send me like, we've got a specific like emoji. I say, send me that emoji and I know everything's cool. So I go like, hey, everything okay? It's like, boop, emoji. I'm like, cool. So I know the next 7 hours, it's cool, right? So that helped that. Is it similar to this?
Yeah, I mean, I really what we're talking about is, and now the podcast is about something else entirely, but
No,
learning,
but
learning to
Side
interface
quests.
together, because it's really easy to be like, oh, you're autistic, let's get you neurotypical, right? Like, let's get you to communicate in neurotypical ways, or like, you have ADHD, like, let's get you to be less, right? Like, let's bring it down a notch. And really what my partner and I have learned, because sometimes I'm very ADHD and sometimes he's very autistic, is it is like, it's not about he needs to be more like me or I need to be more like him. Even in our communication styles, we need to be able to interface together.
Yes.
So I need to be able to be like fully ADHD and dramatic about things. And then he needs to be able to say, okay, like this seems like a 9 or a 10. Is it a 9 or a 10? And I can be like, no, it's a 2, right? Like we just need ways to like
love
bridge
that.
the gap.
I love that so much.
You just like cracked open like a profound egg that I've been kind of like basing all of my like teaching on recently, and it's like this. I realized when we have therapy, and I'm not dogging on therapy, right? Because I've had therapy. Most of the time, they say, "Hey, you have to learn this new skill or adapt to this to become more neurotypical."
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I'm like, "Hey, I can barely deal with the load that life is giving me right now, and you're telling me,
Right.
you're telling me to learn more things. Like it's never going to happen, right?" But the profound thing, the profound impact of it was very simple. Okay. The profound impact, sorry, I'm laughing, these guys are ridiculous. The profound impact was this is really serious. It's not how we get to the end result, we just have to get to the end result, right? So learning something is one way to do it, but I'm not gonna be able to do it. But if you just get a hack like that,
Yeah.
right? Using the emoji, like there's no big therapy of like, I'm not become like an emotional value calculator. I just said, give me the emoji. Okay, cool. I know it because we got to the same conclusion, right? So it's hacking our way to get out of it. And I realized that, and I was like, dang. And I think that's why therapy, a lot of the time for neurodivergent individuals, falls flat because we're like, I haven't got the time to learn all this stuff because my capacity is maxed out already.
Yeah.
Right, and frankly, it's unfair. My partner pointed out at one point, he's like, it seems a little unfair to put like the onus of getting better at social interactions on the person with a literal social disability.
Oh, yeah,
like, why is it
how's
my
that
job to adapt
Yeah.
socially when I literally, like, rigidity
It's like,
is part of
get
my
out the wheelchair
condition?
and start walking. It's like, how?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
you know what I mean? It's like, it's
Yeah.
never going to happen. Like, why are we always forcing this upon the neurodivergent community?
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, the number one thing when it comes to relationships is just very simply communication. But the thing with me and my partner is we always have like a very, very simple understanding of I understand that you don't understand.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to ask questions, and I'm allowed to explain as best as I possibly can.
Man.
And that's like, it's just so important.
I'm waiting till you're finished.
I forget everything else that I was saying.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, I impulsively pointed.
Good one, Alex.
I was waiting. I was waiting. Like,
All right, well, get on with it.
So I use the word kumquat quite a lot, which is the sentence. There's the word that just says, when something happens, something bad going on, something like something big is happening. Kumquat, literally, it's just such a jarring word. It's essentially telling everyone around me, I don't have the capacity to process this right now. I'm going to remove myself from it, process it. I'm coming back. Because sometimes if something happens in text and I leave them like on scene but not replied, they're like, they hate me. But in my head, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. But that's
So I just have to. What I do now is I just go. Even in conversation, it's like just like saying unsubscribe and leave.
Yeah.
Like
But we know because you signposted it.
and like when I say kumquat to like my friends and my family back home, it just means like you guys carry on. I'm gonna load, buffer, ruminate, marinate in this thing for a minute, and because it's such a jarring word, everyone's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
It's like a safe word.
Do you want to know like something really like messed up?
No.
Like if that's okay. So in my relationship, my fiance, she's also autistic and ADHD, but she gets like selective mutism, right? So she gets shut down and just goes mute. So she can't even say like, hey, it's okay, I just need time out. She just like ignores me. And I'm like, I'm freaking out. She can't even text, right? So I'm like, so if we're both, so it's so there's some times where like both negative ions, and it's just, I have no idea how to fix that, by the way. Like I'm no expert because I have no idea how to fix that.
So I actually learned that not from my understanding of ADHD, but from going to my daughter's co-op preschool. They said that a lot of times, like kids screaming, all of this meltdown overwhelms your, like it brings your cognition offline, and you're like frustrated.
Yeah.
Why won't this kid stop crying? And so like she talked about how, like, you know, when your prefrontal cortex, like your cognition's offline because your emotions are like too high.
Yeah.
She's like, do a hand signal with your partner, and it's just like, this is the reptilian brain or whatever, and then like, there's the prefrontal cortex, and you just go, prefrontal cortex is offline, right? Like, and you can do it to each other, so you can be like, and so dip, or you can say it to your partner who's clearly like not okay to handle the baby right now, and be like,
because it's like it's like minimum effort but maximum impact.
Yeah, it's great for if you go nonverbal. If anybody ever goes nonverbal, knowing some sign language, so you can communicate
dope.
that way.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah,
I like that a lot. It's the it's the thought process of using a safe word. I always use under the same thing when it comes to people. I say yell pineapple if it sounds like I'm overreacting. Do something like in playful tones, of course. But to understand a word that's so out of context that you have to go, wait a second, what's happening?
Yeah.
And you slow down, you come back to it a little bit. It
like
makes
pattern interrupt,
a world of a difference. I had a friend of mine once. I made a video about this, and everybody went crazy for it. So I just want to share here on the podcast. I had a friend of mine once who actually was trying to understand ADHD a little bit better. They're like, dude, you're the worst texter I've ever seen in my life. And I went, it kind of happens. And they said, can you tell me why? I'm just kind of curious. I started explaining kind of the ideology of object permanence, all these kind of things as to what happens if my phone is away. I'm just not thinking about it. And I was being very, just whatever about it. I wasn't trying to get them to treat me any different. They just asked to talk about it. So one day they sent me a text and they needed to know something, and I didn't respond for about 48 hours. And then they just randomly, playfully sent me a text message, and they said, your object permanence is showing. And just on that, I kind of just laughed, because there's also a certain part of us where once we ignore too long, then to reignite the conversation,
the inertia,
all that kind of stuff, it was so funny. So the fact that they said that, it almost broke the barrier of going, I understand what's happening, just come back.
Yeah. Because that's
and it was so
broke
fun.
the chain,
Yeah.
right? We're saying that, not Fleetwood Mac, like we broke the chain.
So to bring this full circle, not that I'm the host of this podcast, but to bring this full circle, like we're talking about task initiation difficulties, we're talking about relationships and communication. Can we talk about how do you communicate when you're struggling to get a task done to people that might be waiting on you, or vice versa? Like, what if you have a partner who's like not getting started on something and you're getting frustrated? Like, how do you communicate when one of you or both of you are not doing the thing?
So in our household it's crazy. But so pathological demand avoidance is like rife. It just happens, right? And then because the demand becomes too much, and then you're like, and then you hit inertia, and then it's like you can't pass the buck, because then they're like, hey, now I got two, to-do lists to do, and then they hit. So when that happens, I just say, like, I literally just be gone. I can't do anything. And then if she's like, actually, like, me neither, and we just like literally cancel everything, and then like everything else just takes second priority, right? Our priority is just to like destimulate ourselves, like just chill, like lower the tone, and like get everything kind of so we can ground ourselves, right? So that's how I do it. And the communication is simply this: I can't, like I just can't do this. And like, okay, I get it, and that's it.
I forgot about that. Thank you for saying that, because I'd heard that that's a cool strategy of like, I got 10%, and then the partner's like, I got 40. Cool, like maybe the partner handles dinner. But if you're both like, I'm at zero, like I got nothing, well, okay, then we got to cancel some stuff, 100%. Right?
Yeah, and then about like, because we get that guilt as well. It's like, if it could be work, it could be the kid's friend's birthday party, whatever, I don't know. But like, I just go, no, cancel the guilt, cancel everything. Everything just stop, bang, because otherwise I ain't going to survive.
Also, I must add, there is a dopamine release in me from cancelling plans. Like, I love cancelling plans. Like,
I hate it so much.
Like when the friend's like, are you on your way? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely on my way, just as you're getting into bed. And like, oh, traffic's crazy.
Oh no, the anxiety. No, I love being canceled on. Because it is the only time I ever have free time.
That one is beautiful.
It's true.
I only ever have free time if I am canceled on. And I'm like, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do the thing. I'm like, oh, no problem. I'm so sad. Like, we can do it another time. Like, thank you.
Just to add to that, I'm going to finish my point real quick.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Canceling the plans when you've like with your partner and stuff. Like, you're like, we're going to rush to dinner. Oh my God, we can't do it. You know what? Done. And suddenly that air is like, oh.
There's no demand.
See, we suddenly live in this moment of no demand, and suddenly a little bit of dopamine just goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love the fact that we're all different human beings. Even if we have different brains, even if we have, even if we have similar brains, we can still have different physiologies. We can still have different things on how we react towards certain things. I cannot have free time if I get canceled on because I have to sit there and think about how I'm going to use the free time for about half an hour to an hour. And normally that's a very, very frustrating thing for me. So that actually becomes, it's almost defaultly become my video game time. That if somebody cancels on me, I play video games because I never play video games.
Oh,
so that becomes like the very quick, like that's immediately, that has to be what I'm doing, even if I have work to do or anything like that. But if I cancel on you, I already know the next 17 hours of my life because I've been planning around canceling on you for that entire time.
Well, but how is video games not downtime?
Oh, it is, but it's not planned downtime. So, but it gives him the ability to do
Yeah,
it, right?
No, that's what I'm talking about.
it's
It's
like-
the best. It's like, oh, I don't have to do anything? Cool.
Yeah, but
The
that's what I mean,
Mentalist.
like, it's
Let's binge watch.
Because there's no
So
guilt
it's-
in doing it, right? Because you would have been doing something else, but you didn't do it, so you were able to kind of just
But
fill the gaming.
for me, downtime is not video games. Actually, for me, downtime is relaxation. It is spending time off technology.
Oh, I see.
And I think that's a big thing for me, even though I love video games,
So
even
what-
though I love technology, but that's not downtime to me because my entire life is technology.
So,
My
okay,
entire
so then
life
out
is
of curiosity, like, what if you had a default that was not technology related, and then you practiced that default, and you were like, hey, friends, I'm going to try a thing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what you're going to cancel, but, like, cancel on me. And then I'm going to practice going to my new default. And then you might go to video games after that. But if you
Yeah.
just did, like, the first 5 minutes be the non-technological, and then you can go do your video games or whatever, but, like, you at least
least
get
had
to
a break.
practice.
Yeah.
Because that's all that's happening is you have a default. And I have a default, too. My default is, oh, I don't have to do anything? Oh, sorry. Alex.
No, I'm hand up when you're done.
Okay.
But we got to wrap up in 6. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
So I'm going to put up on what you're just saying. When the cancellation happens, like, what am I going to do with the ad? The thing that me and my partner will do is walk the dog.
Nice.
Wait, that's not a euphemism.
Like, because the thing that's never gonna, like, never ever
You
gonna
own your
happen.
dog,
like,
right?
Like if my dog is just there and it's like, do you want to go for a walk? He's like, he's stoked and ready to go. Like he's like ready to jump. Hey, you want to?
Okay.
Like he's like, hey, let's go for a walk. And he's like, yeah, buddy, I've been waiting for you all this time.
All right, on that note, we're going to wrap up. Matt, how can people find you online?
My primary platforms are Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I am dying for YouTube followers, so if you guys are willing to, please go onto YouTube, type in my name, Matt Rakelboom. Unfortunately, I have a very complex last name, but if you
Very
figure
good
it
at
out,
Scrabble.
it's lovely.
If you figure it
I'm
out.
gonna be, you guys are gonna be like tagged in the YouTube video when this goes live on the podcast, so
Lovely.
you'll be in there. So you can follow too. Jess.
I am Jessica McCabe. You can follow me at howtoadhd.com. You can Google How to ADHD or go to youtube.com/howtoadhd. If you want to support the work that I do, you can go to patreon.com/howtoadhd and give me $5 a month and join the most knowledgeable ADHD community on the internet.
Amazing. Alex, you're dead to me. So if you want to follow me, you can just go to the aspieworld.com.
You got an 11-hour flight with me, sir. You better
Uh-oh.
not fall asleep.
We're not sitting together, bruv. No, and if you want to just give me $5, that'd be cool. Yeah, you can go to the aspieworld.com to find out more about me and my YouTube channel. Alex, how can people find you online?
If you would like to talk to me at all, I will be surprised.
This joke. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Any comments for the panelists, I'll forward it
We
on
should have a
and just put it
jingle.
down.
We should do a jingle.
Okay, let's go. I'm an electro-techno tester. Came from a Chinese tech inventor. I'm a hardcore crushed by the pain of love, but I wrote it down with a smoke detector. Oh, yeah. Is that it? We're done? Do you want me to keep going?
We could. why
Make way
not?
for the lonely robot, botanical, mechanical man. I got a whole lot of love to love, but it's locked inside like a jar of jam. Watch me use the name. I save it to me database to come and kick it with the robot gang. I wish I had a like a laser beam and then I fire at your motherboard 4 terabytes of RAM. Goddamn, mechanical man, but catch it ham and out until the printer jams. Imaging me sound and it's free to use it if you just subscribe to my monthly plan. It's been a very long time since Pat connected. Me robot pogo sticks neglected. I make one move and I get rejected. So now I'm making life from a different perspective. Robo, cyber, super tech, artificially intelligent computer tech. That I want to get lost in your super web. Yeah, let's go. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
Peace.
you guys so
That was
much. That was
amazing.
awesome.
Awesome.
Was that recording?
Yeah.
I hope so.